Welcome everybody to another episode of the special topics of real money-making advice. We may call them the Stormer Sunday Talks, or we may choose a different title if you feel that way inclined. Regardless, we are here today on a Sunday. For James, it's already Monday morning. With AI expert and sales process optimization specialist, James Killick, and we're going to be talking about software, hardware, and the humans in between, and what we may predict about the future, some bets that we can make, and what we foresee, what the future may hold for us. With that, welcome, James. How are you?
Very good. Thank you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's Sunday evening here for me. For you, it's already Monday. We're having fun, blasting through the Sunday.
Different vibes, isn't it? You Sunday morning, me Monday. Sorry, you Sunday evening, me Monday morning.
Yes.
How
has your day been so far? And what is usually your preferred way to start your days these days?
It's been a slow morning, actually. Family man, entrepreneur, with 2 kids. Sometimes things don't go to plan. So if I did have a plan for this morning, it was not followed whatsoever. In a perfect world, what I like to do is on Sunday afternoon have already done an accountability session with my specially trained AI accountability coach. I like to look at what were my goals for the week or the month or even the quarter, as I will be doing one of those very soon as we're ending the quarter. And kind of work out, how far did I get to it? If I didn't get there, what were the big issues? So then Monday morning comes along and all I need to do, I've already got my plan, I've already got my goals for the week. I just need to start smashing them out. And every single morning I do a thing called Most Important Task, MIT. It's essentially just putting Claude into planning mode for my 3 or 4 most important tasks and just getting those balls rolling. And often I'll be using the same session as the orchestration session for each one of these projects, even by the time the end of the week comes.
That was a very thorough question thorough answer to a bit of a curveball question. But yes, definitely. I think the audience could take a lot from that, yes. Okay, so I have a few questions prepared for you today, specifically around software and hardware. Let's start with software, if we may. So sure. I have been noticing that the software incumbents, let's talk about Go High Level, let's talk about Salesforce, let's talk about these larger companies, incumbents, are expanding their reach as well as the capabilities of what is being built into the software. And now, as we as AI agencies or AI service providers or AI-enhanced service providers are looking into solutions that we can monetize and help businesses in the marketplace with, we also want to make strategic bets about the future of what might happen. So how do you see the development of software, the value of software as a whole, as it gets more and more easy to develop software, but harder and harder to secure? What is your expert take on that?
I think the likes of Go High Level and Salesforce should be very scared, very, very scared. As it happens, the CRM, those were the 2 examples you gave. The CRM is one of the few that I am not vibe coding right now. Why? Because although it's quite easy to build a more beautiful interface than what Go High Level and Salesforce has, I think all of the different layers that they have, that's tried and tested over decades. And so you really, even though vibe coding is quick, you really shouldn't be going into all of the nuances of how emails are sent, emails are warmed up, data is secured. That's tried and tested. But there are many solutions that I have vibe coded. For instance, I've moved completely off Notion as my project management system, and we've built our own project management system for our agency. And there was one big reason: none of the systems out there, even the likes of the complex software like Jira, that was able to truly allow us to project out our resource allocation, particularly when you're sharing resources across multiple entities and multiple projects. So that was a no-brainer for us. As of yet, I'm keeping we use Go High Level. Some of our clients use HubSpot. Some of our clients use Salesforce. For now, the advice is keep using these CRMs, but we rarely use the AI inbuilt into the CRMs because they're usually a few steps behind. we build the AI layer on top of these platforms, and we find that it works better.
Very interesting. Okay, here's the distinction. We've seen in the community and the members that we speak to that there's basically two ways how SaaS is currently approached. Either building SaaS as internal applications for customers, for enterprise clients, or mid-market or even smaller companies as internal tools, internal software. And the other ones who are looking to basically build SaaS in the traditional way of a subscription model.
Yeah.
I think from what I heard you just say that the enterprise internal tool building direction might be more viable for the future because this is where it's generally speaking heading. On the other hand, SaaS of a subscription model, you always run into the challenge of where's the distribution. If you already have distribution or advertising skills, making a SaaS and making a SaaS work is probably more accessible than ever. But as distribution gets harder to get, because it's harder to get people's attention, generally speaking, it might be just as hard as it always has been, right? But building SaaS as internal tools for corporate clients might be a more viable path. What do you think about this distinction? And how do you evaluate it?
I think SaaS is only going to get harder to gain attention for, because like anything, AI is just causing more. You just see more. And a lot of it is slop, a lot of it is crap, but it's still clogging up the airwaves. So you're as a SaaS owner, you are fighting even more now than ever before for the attention of your target ICP, your ideal customer persona. There's a few things I would just mention about this. So I actually think that the internal solution, if we're talking about vibe coding again, the internal solution is one that is much safer, not just for distribution, but when you have to scale a vibe-coded software, that's going to go out to hundreds, if not thousands of users, you need to ensure that things don't break, that there is consistency between the whole application. You do need a more traditional coding team. Even if you do, the prototyping or the iteration of new features using vibe coding, it all needs to eventually be reviewed by a true solutions architect and true good software developers. And I say this from the background, as you know, that I have a software development agency. So we have two very distinct offers. If you want a prototype or you want something for your internal team, potentially a little client portal if you're only serving, a handful of clients, we're not talking hundreds, 10, 20 max, then it's safe to do vibe coding. It's safe to push that out, especially if you're not using sensitive data. But on the other side, the true SaaS, you really need a full development team. We did one recently for a client, and she had done a prototype with a vibe coder, somebody who called themselves a developer that definitely wasn't. And the kind of stuff that we saw, for instance, Claude at the time had directed him not to have a backend to the system. So everything was like server edge functions, leveraging databases like Supabase. So when you wanted to build on top of it, it was very, very difficult. It was already hitting its max. It was built as a prototype and serving hundreds of clients already. And then when you want to do anything like, API integrations, that requires like a full REST API backend, right? So we had to completely redo that. We had to make it production ready. And we were constantly fighting why is this taking so long? My other developer did it in days, you're taking weeks. And it's such a hard one to talk to somebody who's non-tech and explain to them, well, it's the security of your client data. It's the ability to build infrastructure that you can plug into from multiple systems. Like that can't be done with AI with the click of a finger yet. When we saw Fable come out for the few days we had it, this got closer, but still had issues. AI creates bloated code. And it like replicates itself across all of the different pages. It doesn't use core principles like having global stylings. And so when you want to iterate on it, it's very difficult. And really, so like once you built that, only AI can iterate, like humans can't.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. when would somebody know that it is now a good time to consider a proper development team to oversee the code and look into some of these security challenges that you just mentioned?
When they've got momentum. So I would usually base this on cash. So either they've created a prototype and they've run some sort of pre-sale campaign, which I believe, as a side note, is the best way to launch a SaaS. Sell before you build. Or they've actually launched some sort of very lean vibe coded MVP. And they are generating at least $10,000 per month, around about there. And then I would say it's time to actually start looking at, properly shoring up your code.
That makes sense, yes. And with the current AI capabilities, do you see any recommended use cases? So let's say there are business owners listening to this right now and they feel they have had the notion that internal tooling, building out internal systems to maybe replace some of their current tech stack, or just not being reliant on software subscriptions, that the further you go into enterprise, the more they scale up in terms of costs. What do you see are recommended use cases that you have implemented across different clients, if you can talk about that, or does it really depend on each person's individual situation?
The best and easiest thing to implement is dashboarding of some sort. So visualizing data. We've implemented this for multiple clients. We've even implemented or are implementing a solution so that a client can have a multi-tenanted dashboard so that they can show their clients and so on. Like this is the best use case of vibe coding, because when your marketer goes, I wish I could see this, that used to be, okay, well, is it worth building? Okay, if it is, let's get it scoped up by a developer. Weeks go by, the marketer's lost the opportunity, and it's like, okay, great. Now it's like, I wish I could see this. It's like, give me 5 minutes. And then your dashboard suddenly shows the thing that the marketer wants to see. But there's one caveat to all this. Like, dashboards are great. Like, I use my own dashboard as a command center to visualize what my AI is doing, for instance. Like, there are different types of dashboard. It doesn't just need to be business intelligence. But you've got to have your fundamental data right. You've got to be bringing it into a data warehouse of some sort, or at very least doing something like Kapathi's LLM wikis, so that you are categorizing the data that's stored on your computer. Without that, dashboarding is just pointless.
Very interesting. Great. Okay, so now we covered the software layer. Now let's take a look into hardware and maybe some of your predictions around that. We've had a conversation today in the morning with some of the inner circle of that community that we're both part of, and we realized that the NVIDIA is a GTX Spark. The Spark, the supercomputer that they launched, has basically risen in price by 25% over the last 3 or 4 months. So it used to be at 4,000, now currently is at 5,000. So, and the enterprise version of that for 728 gigabyte is apparently going for $100,000. These very large-scale enterprise, trillion parameter, local model running capable machines. Do you predict that the prices of those equal to the Mac products are going to continue to go up, or will there be a backswing where the more capable the manufacturing process is getting, in the same way as we saw that in recent history with hard drives, you can get more terabytes for less price because the technology advances? Do you think the price will continue to go up and there will be shortages, or do you think it will stabilize and the price you will get a more capable machine for the same price? What do you predict in that regard?
Well, I think it's in the manufacturer's favor to, cause scarcity. So I'm a Mac person. I saw on the news recently in the US that they put all of their prices up again as well. And there is a RAM shortage. But we've got to think about what that actually means, right? They're still selling things like iPads and iPhones at the same price, which fundamentally use the same materials. They just either didn't account for the increased demand, or they've intentionally kept it scarce so that they can raise prices. I assume the same thing for NVIDIA chips. Well, yeah. So we're going to see prices go up until somebody comes along and disrupts it. Same with AI, right? We've got Claude and OpenAI prices going up, but then you have these great Chinese models, undercutting them, forcing them to bring their prices down, or at least to level them out. We'll see the same thing with computers, but we're just earlier on. This is like the next generation of computing. Like I bought a computer, this Mac, 2024, and it has, let me just double check, 24 gigs of unified memory. And when I bought it, not knowing that I was going to be running so many different AI-related applications on it, I was like, wow, this is one of the hottest computers I've bought. This is fantastic. Fast forward 2 years, and my applications freeze if I have Claude and its routines running along with like IDEs, development environments like anti-gravity and so on. Like it freezes. And so now I am looking to buy the top of the range MacBook Pro that'll have 140 odd gigabytes of unified RAM, so that I can run local models. I can do these things. So more and more people will be edging that way. And it's like what we talk about with AI. This is the perfect window for manufacturers. They are just going to say there's a RAM shortage, which I think is a fictitious thing. And they're going to let prices go up until somebody comes in and levels the playing field.
And you think that is likely to happen? Ryzen, AMD, not sure where. I think one of them is Korean, one is a Chinese manufacturer. I will need to look this up. So you're going to predict that will likely happen too, that there will be a price increase, and then the competition, the market forces will basically force or make the ground fertile for other competitors to come in and undercut them in price. Very interesting.
I think it's a pretty fair prediction, right? Because in the world of business, economy, and whatever, everything runs in cycles. So yes. I could have just sat on the fence and say, yeah, prices are going to go up, and then eventually they'll go down. Then something else will happen and they'll go up, because it's all a cycle. Yes,
for sure. Okay. Do you think it would make sense for the average business owner to look into running local models? Or is that more of an advanced use case that is driven by hype and not necessary for the average use case?
Yeah, driven by hype, not needed for the average use case. Okay. Just go down to Claude for a second. We know that Claude has chat, co-work, and code. I kind of use the metaphor of cooking. I'm a foodie, so chat is like your cooking show. You can get ideas, inspiration, right? You can pull it out, but it's not really going to do much for you. Co-work is like your chef. You can bring it into your home. It will cook the meal. It will deliver the meal. So it will actually, facilitate a whole task end to end. And then code, you can build whole systems with. And that's like running your whole restaurant. For the average person, or the average business person, I should say, I don't think they need to go further than co-work. I think co-work has a lot of nice guardrails that secure the average person. And it's the same as running local models. Like right now, why run a local model? If you're generating decent revenue, just buy the ChatGPT or Claude subscription and use that. It's safer than running local. It's far less technical. What do you actually get for running local? I'm going to do it. I am going to do it because, Fable, or the banning of Fable was an eye opener for me. Like luckily I jumped on it early and started refining my systems with it before I lost it. But the fact that we can just lose something like that was like, wow. But I'm in AI, just like you're in AI. We can't have our systems go down. A business can probably just ensure their security by having just 2 systems ready to go. Yeah, I think hype. I think it's only for the top 0.1%.
Yeah, great answer. I think so too. I totally agree. Good. We're almost on time. One last question. What happened to OpenClaw and Manus post-acquisition?
I don't know much about this one.
Yeah, me neither. We haven't heard much, right?
Yeah. You're talking about Manus and Facebook.
Manus and Facebook and OpenClaw's post OpenAI acquisition. Both of them were acquired, and then the hype quickly died down. What happened?
Well, I'm pretty sure that Manus, that whole thing got blocked, didn't it, by the Chinese government? Didn't I read somewhere that sale is not properly gone through? I might be wrong about that.
Okay.
Or at least the
Might be.
Chinese government is not wanting it to go through. As far as OpenClaw goes, I think ChatGPT got everything that they wanted out of that. They essentially purchased a PR move. OpenClaw is still, even though I believe Hermes is better, OpenClaw is still the most starred, most shared thing on GitHub. People are still avidly using it. And I think what's more is, the ChatGPT has taken, or OpenAI has taken the concepts and has started building it into its own systems. We've even seen, did you hear of Scout, Microsoft Scout?
Nope.
It's in beta at the moment. It's essentially an enterprise OpenClaw. That's a simplified description, obviously, but they've taken the principles of OpenClaw, Microsoft obviously having share in OpenClaw. They've probably been in talks with the OpenClaw founder, and they've created this enterprise always-on agent that they're now testing. And that kind of thing for the big businesses is the future, because, let's be honest, like a big multinational, multi-billion-dollar business, that's not going to be able to use OpenClaw or Hermes. Like, it's just not going to happen. But if under their Microsoft tenancy, linked to Azure, they're able to spin an agent up that's protected, that leverages the data they've already got inside of their Office 365 tenancy, well, that's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because Microsoft already has the foot in the door and has all of the distribution there. It just needs to make the recommendation whenever that's ready. Interesting. Good.
Exactly.
James, where can people find you if they want to get in contact with you?
If you're interested in shoring up your sales and adding a bit of AI to convert more, get more clients, then it's my agency, Engine, NJIN.co. And I also release a load of AI-related tools and prompts and class lessons in my school community, Make Money with AI.
Good. I think that was a good second winged session.
I'll stop
What
it,
do you
shall
think?
I? Yeah. Let me
Yes.
stop it.